Hello, welcome back to Black and Grown Conversations. Real talk, real growth, no filters. This is a place where grown Black women can keep it real. There are no age limits here. Nothing is off limits because growth demands truth. So let's get started. Happily ever after had left the chat. Luxury, lump sum, and letting go. The inside of Todd Tucker and Kandi Burruss divorce settlement. When high-profile marriages end, the public often expects chaos, courtroom drama, and emotional fallout. And that's true. When Kandi, the reason why I get Candace and Kandi mixed up because they both have the same shade of red lipstick. Todd and Kandi got married in April 4th, 2014. Remember that date real well. Kandi filed for split in November 21st, 2025. And the rumors were already speculating on different platforms during the summertime, and people try to piece things together. When she filed for it, and people going back to all her interviews, all his going Instagrams, their Facebook, all that stuff. They're going back to what they were saying back and forth, all those things. But the divorce between the Real Housewives of Atlanta star Kandi Burruss and producer Todd Tucker tells a very different story. One that feels like a breakup, more like a careful negotiation business deal. And at the end, we finally got that part. Some people have stated that when she filed for divorce, that it was Kandi who was doing all the talking about the divorce. However, if people really think about it, it wasn't Kandi. Kandi been backing Todd since they got married. Few examples. You got to remember this one is remember this one real well. Sorry for that. Todd is shutting down the narrative that wife Kandi Burruss put him on. Todd revealed he tired of hearing the storyline, reminding folks that he had worked behind the scenes for years as a producer before ever meeting Kandi. He says their marriage has always been about partnership, and that they both help each other elevate to the next level in their careers. It wasn't one-sided. Okay. Now, when the Kandi met Todd was a social producer on Bravo. Now, other shows he did, we already know that he did Tardy for the Party. Again, you know what I'm saying? So you build yourself up from that. And another thing I want you to understand, I think when Todd's mother was still alive. All right. Kandi and Todd, they're not sometimes the same state. They both have their own thing going on. She was doing the Kandi nights. She was doing other projects because she had a hookup on Bravo, but the woman was there until the woman left, and there were no more hookups. But she was doing her tours with her girl from Escape. She and Tiny wrote Scrubs, and she been writing for other artists throughout her whole time since she been in the show business since she was in high school. So another thing that Todd mother stated is Kandi will come home at 3 or 4 in the morning on a regular basis. That just doesn't align with the values and routines our family had always lived by. I stayed quiet because I want them to handle it privately, I'm guessing. But once everything exploded online, we ended up taking all the heat and hate from social media. So this is a little thing going on where Kandi was at, people saying she's working, like she's working, Also, you listen real carefully when he said Kandi will come home at 3, 4 in the morning. Do they remind you of somebody else's marriage on the Housewives of Atlanta when Portia and her first husband, he was saying she would come at midnight. I locked the doors on her, all that stuff. What I observe watching different black um, reality TV shows that deal with the husbands, it usually the men listen to each other and repeat some things in the court documents and repeat things in their podcast interviews or put it in their darn social media. So I'm just bringing those things out there. So Todd had been talking about their marriage throughout the whole time. And we saw this toward the end when Kandi would get her hair done and like girl talk. And Todd would be in there. One of the things Todd say, I had no male friends. I had no friends. And we all knew that full crap because Todd, you hanging out with your friends. Riley came out and told both of you were not good parents because you both was always out. You both were working when the kids came along. All right. So we knew that full crap. Then towards the end, then people got really ticked up with Todd when he was trying to say, well, you know, we met and 3 weeks later we slept together. Right. And we all thinking, well, I'm grown. So I'm like, wait a minute. You were 38. No, Kandi was 38 and you were 41 when you got married. You got grown. I don't give a damn. You got something one day. I don't care. You guys had one night stand or you guys did one night stand and stay together. It doesn't matter. You're grown. You had a kid. She had a kid. Your damn daughter was like 17, 18 when you met her. So what the hell is that all about? So that's why I said, Todd trying to do his exit plan and trying to make do things. Where Kandi, and you can go back and watch Kandi, all this crap. She always had Todd back. But somehow Todd always felt that he wasn't looked favorably as a man in the home because she had the money. This is how I feel about that. Don't date a woman who got money. But Todd, you already had a history by the woman who came told Kandi that Todd date older women with money. So you already had a history already. Not on the industry, but you already had in New York dealing with older women or women with money. So you already did that. I can't stand when men don't cry so much. Be quiet. Do like the Caucasian man do when they deal with a woman who got money, come from a family for money. He know his place. He know his place. Be quiet. Long she ain't cheating, long he not cheating. He live a comfortable, like a cushion job. He have a cushion, and yes, he got a job. And that man do have a job. Where the job is, he handle his job. But he like a fool about what she spend, what she does, and so forth, because that's her money. That's her money. They got a prenup done. He ain't cheat on her. And your case is a little different because Todd and Kandi have a different, unique marriage. This is a unique marriage. That's all. They're a unique marriage to have. But I just didn't like that, and especially when Todd and Kandi and Mother Joyce went on The View. A lot of you got to remember that part. Go back and watch The View. Wait a minute. Whoopi talked to Mother Joyce on air and said, "Hey, me and you are almost most like the same age here." And Whoopi thing has always been this way. You raised her. She got to make her own decisions. If it fails, that's on her to learn. That's how Whoopi thinks. That and Sherry Shepherd said the same thing. Whoopi came to Sherry Shepherd, told her what she saw when a second husband she had, and Sherry still wanted to the wedding. Whoopi didn't show up for the wedding, but people, Whoopi said, you let people handle the way they want. You tell them what you see, and that's all you can do. Now, Mother Joyce, I ride with Mother Joyce. I rode with Mother Joyce the whole time when they aired their engagement and that lead up to their wedding. I was 100% with Mother Joyce. Would come down to sign that prenup. You have a daughter. That is your legacy. Everything of that point should go to your daughter. If something happens to you. That's what I felt. And I'm so glad that Mother Joyce, on the day of the wedding, he want to sign the prenup then. He had months to do it. This is how the prenup really works. he has an attorney, you have an attorney. That's how you negotiate the prenup. And one of the prenups should be very basic. What's yours is yours, what's mine is mine. That's it. So let me give you an example of a woman who she had a prenup, and her family prenup was easy, but she allowed herself to believe in the man she about to marry. And she didn't see the man, she didn't see what that man she would marry, what he was thinking of the time. Okay. This is when Oprah interviewing an author. Oprah with Belle Burden on the collapse of her 20-year marriage in her bestseller Memoir. And the book name is Stranger. All right, hold on for a minute so I can let you hear it. Before we get started, I'll let you know her grandmother is a well known actress of that time period. Okay, both her grandmother married men who cheated on them, and she thought she was different. She thought she had broke the cycle. Both her mother and grandmother dated men that people knew who they were. They were someone like that. And she thought she broke the cycle. But I'm going to let you go. I want you to hear when she talked about finances in a prenup that she brought to attention to her soon-to-be husband, and what happened before they got married, and what happened during their marriage. Okay?
Wasn't getting any answers from him. Look at myself and look at the decisions I made over 20 years that kind of put me in the place that I was, not in a place of blame, but just like, okay, so I made these decisions about finances, I made these decisions about career, and here I am. And now what do I want it to look like going forward?
So you just brought up finances. I wanted to say this. I hear a lot of women have made a similar mistake as you did, allowing your spouses to handle all the finances. And you write on page 95 about, I lost touch with both the big picture and the details of our financial life, depending on James to tell me what to do. I felt some shame about it, about not being involved, about not asking questions, but I was afraid I wouldn't understand it, that it was too complicated for me, even though I was a former corporate lawyer. Mm-hmm. I settled into the vagueness, the luxury, and privilege of not knowing. Mm-hmm. What do you want to?
This is so crucial here, because women, you work so hard. As a single person, she had no kids. Neither one of them had kids. And you work so hard, even single mothers who marry a man who had no kids, or he might have 1 or 2 kids. You want that burden of responsibility to be lifted off of you. And it backfires.
I say to all the women doing that right now.
If my book does one thing, if it makes women pay more attention to their finances and what's going on in their relationship or their marriage financially, I will be so happy, because I think I'm not alone in what I did. I handed it over to him in this very trusting, loving way. My father had died 2 years before, and I was looking for a safe harbor. He said to me, I'm going to take care of you.
And this is another part that women, when you lost a loved one, it could be your parent or parents, it could be your spouse or a child. And again, you are overwhelmed with a lot of stuff going on. And you ever have to do an estate planning is a lot. Okay. And this is, you've been watching over the years, I've been watching over the years, women who's in those kind of transitioning of that state of mind, they language and put the guard down, and they want someone to save them. Even though they say they don't, they want someone to save them without them knowing that's what they said, or how they put out in the universe is to save me response.
And it felt romantic to me to hand it over to him. He was this man in a gray flannel suit going off to work, and this was how he was going to take care of our family. And as you lose touch with it, for me, I convinced myself that he was better able to handle it, that, oh gosh, it actually was very complicated. He made it seem very complicated. It actually isn't. It's not hard to learn this stuff.
Yeah.
And what I ask friends to do is to read your tax returns, understand where your assets are, whose name is on each thing, and have the conversation or have some understanding about what will happen if the relationship ends, even if the
relationship in divorce. The big part also, if that person passed away, that's also a big thing for us women to understand. Back in the 80s, when the men would start, these are Caucasian people, okay? When the husband would start dying off, and the wife was, had to handle all their, family. These are regular people. This is not middle class or people who are rich. These are regular people having, the house is paid for, this, all that. But when their husband passed away, their women was old school. Their husband handled all the finances. They couldn't tell you. They know where he kept his paperwork at, but they couldn't tell you about the taxes. And then some women, their husbands stopped paying on the taxes. They still did the taxes, but he never filed for them. And the IRS was coming after those women, knowing full well they were dealing with that generation of women who husband handled the money. Some of the women lost their homes. Some of the women lost every damn thing until a woman who fought in court, and then the IRS had to put in called a widow something clause in the IRS. If your husband did this, all your finances, then you are they gave you more time to get it all together, and then you would not be losing your home and all kind of stuff. This is how bad the IRS was back in the 80s, in the early 90s, until they had to go to court. And that's how they put that widower clause in their files. But keep going.
The most happily married person on earth. You should know what will happen to you if it ends.
Okay. I often say that y'all who have watched me over the years have heard me say this, that life speaks to us in whispers.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't pay attention to the whispers. You get a little thump upside the head.
Yep.
You don't pay attention to that. You get a brick, and then you get a brick wall.
And Mother Joyce with the whisper. And like a little bit, then a brick wall. Brick wall to Kandi on her wedding day. He didn't sign no paperwork. He didn't sign no papers. Mm-hmm.
Prenup was whispering to you for months, was it not? Can you tell us about that?
The prenup was a big whisper that I carried with me for the 20 years. It was still whispering to me. It was a very standard prenup that my family wanted me to sign because I had some inherited money.
Yeah, because you come from generations of women who knew.
Yes, and my money was in trust. It was protected, we had a standard prenup that said whatever you come into the marriage with remains yours, but whatever is earned during the marriage is split, or anything you put in joint name is split. This is
just like similar to what Kandi and Todd kind of have. On the difference is I think Kandi actually put in, Todd owned some businesses that would be on his name and some other stuff they put in together. But really, what you come into the marriage, wherever Kandi came into the marriage is hers, wherever Todd come into marriage is his. That is a basic prenup that you should all do. And then we come down to the joint stuff, what you got built together in the marriage. It's up to you how you want to change the wording of that. 50-50, and you both are doing something. It's up to you what you do. But make sure you put in what you have, what he has, that's yours. Another thing I'm going to tell Black women to do. Some of you are marrying men who make less than you. You marry men who own their own so-called business, okay? You have to add that into the prenup as well. You need to add in your IRA, your retirement accounts. Add that into there in the prenup. Figure it out. Call your damn attorney how you do that. Because women, how you lose Because when you guys get divorced, you can say that you married to a man who owned his own business, which you don't know a damn thing about his business. You don't know a damn thing about his finance in that business. Then you have a regular job. You get divorced. His attorney gonna say she have a regular income coming in. He does not. And the truth is, as long as he pays his taxes, and it shows that he gain some money and lose some money and gain some money. Not every time he get money, the court will look at you and half of your retirement is going to him. Guaranteed it. Let's go.
What the prenup that my brother signed. It's very standard. But my then fiance said, first he was very offended by the prenup, and then he asked 2 weeks.
I did, offended with her money, her inheritance, that he had signed a prenup. Keep going.
Before our wedding, that the prenup be changed to say that anything earned during the marriage would not be split unless we affirmatively chose to put it in joint name. And I trusted his logic. I wanted to please him. My lawyer, who was a great lawyer at a big New York firm, said, do not do this. This is not good for you. You want to be home with kids. He's going into finance. This is not smart. And I convinced him using the arguments that my fiance was giving to me, and we changed it. And I knew as he became wealthier and I depleted my assets and put them into joint name in the form of our house and our apartment,
Lord,
that this was not going to be good for me. But yet I did not act on it.
So she depleted her income coming in. You see that? You hear what he said? She's depleted her income. She put it in her name. The joints. I had a teacher in 10th grade, a biology teacher. She was explaining to us about her marriage. Was doing the sex ed, we were doing, and it's about marriage and all the kind of stuff. She was married. Her dad left her when her parent passed. She had land. She had multiple lands. Okay. And when she was married to her husband, he told her, it's better that you put it in my name so that for tax reasons where it was. So she did. When they got divorced, she also was in a DV marriage. After she did that, slowly got into a DV marriage, and she filed for divorce. And to divorce him, to get all that stuff back, she had to pay him back. She had to pay to get all that land back. She had to pay him everything. She had to pay him the value of that land. Yeah. But she got the land back. She didn't care. I said, I'd rather borrow money, my credit card, whatever it is. She went and got that land back. And she paid him that much money to pay. That was expensive divorce. But she didn't give a hoot. Get your land back while you're getting divorced.
I just kept trusting.
You felt it, though.
I felt it. I knew it was there. And I felt it.
That's what I'm saying. It was whispering to you.
Yeah, it was whispering. And there were other things that were whispering in that financial story that I should have paid attention to. There was, he really wanted me to document all of my spending.
Controlling. That's why you are Todd. Todd would get mad. Well, you remember at the beginning of the first 5 years of their marriage, Todd would always give Kandi a hard time. Kandi went and bought her mom a house. She didn't tell Todd. And Mother Joyce came out and said, well, she bought me a house. And Todd gave her a look. And then when Kandi, she asked Riley, do you want Todd to take over the money? And I swear to you, when I saw that, I didn't want to strangle Kandi. I want to do this. Oh, that's beat down. I was like, girl, you have a legacy to pass down to your darn daughter. Who told you this? I was so mad, Kandi. And I was so mad. And this was when I was watching Law and Order, Criminal Intent. And with a season was this woman, she came from a rich family. that some money there. And her dad passed away. Her husband took over the business, and he flopped it. Right? I'm serious. It was what came to my mind at the time. I remember watching watching Kandi on that show. I want to slap her. And thank you, Riley. Woo, woo. And I don't know how old she was. I think 12, 13 years old. And Riley said no. And Todd was how Todd treated his daughter. Like she'll do it on her own. And that irks me. That irks me, who got daddy in the home. And it irks me, and then you will see why it irks me about Todd wouldn't give his daughter a car. Anyway, let's go on.
He would not openly share how he was doing financially.
So you didn't know what he was doing, but he knew what you were doing.
Exactly. He always knew what I was doing, and I did not ask enough questions. And I think that it felt like protection. But it also, I say this in the book, the flip side of protection is control.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. That's how it is, of control. All right. That's a lot. But I want you to see what the prenup, how women are twisted by the man they're about to marry. One, they defended that they asked them for a prenup. And the sad thing about this whole situation about prenup was, in my opinion, is this. When a woman married to a man who got money, there's a prenup involved. Some women would not even won't sign for a prenup. Then the marriage is off. The marriage is off. Very few men will marry a woman with no prenup. All right. But the man who got prenups, the wedding's off. You didn't sign the piece of paper? It's off. One of the NBA player, I think it was an NBA player, he was at the wedding day and waiting for her to sign a prenup. And then the pastor that she picked come out and said, well, I don't believe in prenup. Oh. He didn't marry her. He walked out of the church, And I wish that, and this is my visual. I wish that, let's go take a visual what happened at at their wedding. And then I'm not sure I said this to you or not, but at their wedding, that Todd wait till how long to sign the paperwork. Todd got his own attorneys. Kandi has her own attorney, going back and forth. Todd on TV told Kandi one thing about the prenup, and Kandi come back and said, well, your attorney, my attorney telling me your attorney saying to her about money. It's all about finances. Todd attorney only talk about finances, but the prenup. And so the day of the wedding, Todd still hadn't signed it. Todd claimed that his attorney was out of state. Now, all fairness, that's BS. Your client did not sign that prenup, and he's supposed to get married that day. And anyway, Todd said he don't need his attorney to sign the prenup, but he did after he, I feel that it's not being fair, and it's here all the bullshit he does. What girls do? Yes, they do. Go watch Phil Donahue back in the day. So don't he act like a girl when I'm under being honest at that time? I don't give a damn. It does. But anyway, so he did sign the paperwork. Her Kandi attorney read the whole thing out loud, so it'd be televised. So the whole thing, people are saying that the prenup won't be upheld. It will be upheld due to the fact the judge would see they both talked about the prenup. He said it himself, I don't need my attorney. The attorney was not present, or attorney was out of the state while he was getting married that day. Boom, red flag for Todd, because everybody knew that game plan. And then in the prenup, I think the judge will read the prenup and see if it's civilized, it's civil. It went through. That's all to it. And the reason why I say chaos happened from November, December, January, February to March, because Kandi was doing a play. She was going around the different podcasts, different interviews. And of course, the divorce will be the separation, the divorce, all that stuff will be asked while she was promoting her Broadway play. It's not being new and so forth. Let me see else. All right. So far, this is what people messing up. 1 minute we heard that she's gonna give him $2 million. Again, one lump sum. That was false. But again, if they have that, if Kandi have that kind of money, that would happen sometimes when you deal with people got money like that. It can happen. All right. That was false. Then it came down to $426,000 that she supposed to do a lump sum money, and then that wasn't fully true, as Kandi stated in another interview. Again, whoever doing these paperwork, and she said it before, she wanted the case to be sealed so that it'd be closed, and it wasn't closed because Todd's side didn't want it closed. And the reason why he didn't want to close, two things: it can, I'm gonna say this, it can force her hand to give up wherever it is, because she want her business out there. A lot of people thought be more drama, more crap that we don't know about Kandi, more stuff we don't know about their marriage gonna be out there, which didn't come out that way. Now, another thing was to make it tighter in the prenup, like negotiate even more in the prenup. Again, we don't know a lot in the prenup, but we know the prenup was going on. And Kandi, when she filed, she was trying to be cordial, be pleasant. In my opinion, to get a book out of Pedro book, because Pedro, when she got divorced, she refused to talk a negative about her son's father of any sort. And that's why I think Kandi got that from. And then he come back with a rebuttal for the from the divorce. And then back and forth for a couple months. They're going back and forth a couple months. And then you see Kandi going up higher and higher. And then she said, F this all. This is what's really going on. He was away in another country while I take care of the nanny and blah, 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 blah. All that stuff blew up. Suddenly everybody want to settle. And then suddenly 2 weeks before the final settlement, that's when he want to file for have the financial sealed. And the judge did not do that. All right, this has been going on for a couple of times for different Black men. A couple of people in 2025 or 24, they did the same thing. When they open their mouth or let the people or have their people leak things out, and then when the woman step up, like Jenny Ma did when Jenny Ma came out, when Jenny Ma went gutter. Oh yeah, all of a sudden he want things sealed. All right, with Jay, you remember that? This is what happened here too as well. So by the end of the day, this is what happened to their marriage. What was hers is hers. What his is his. In the 11 years, because again, 10 years with the prenup, and he waited till the summer to act a fool in the summertime. I'm not repeating what people said what could have happened because nothing was verified. Other people coming in, telling their little bits and pieces of what they've been seeing, observing, and what's now when she filed for divorce on November 21st, 2025, that's when people put things together and start piece things together. Again, like I said, they were going to people, their Instagrams, going to their, all kind of stuff they're doing to try to piece things together of their marriage toward the end. So Kandi came out and said to an interview, she said their divorce is being equal with equity. And what that means, because people saw this money amount, it's $426,000. $426,000. That lump sum is not lump sum. The lump sum was $100,000, which she had to give him up front, and 9 days later the remaining, near like $138,000, right? That again, I'm giving the estimate how much it would be, right? What she mean about that is everything it's not gonna be equal. Properties they have together, they were in a marriage. Say that she had 4 properties. Say that he had 3 properties. It doesn't matter. That's not equal. Equal means the value of the house where the equity of each house, equity of the house that equity of the house that they got together, split it. Again, like I said, she got 4 houses, he got 3 houses. They had to see what the equity total is. And if it's more or less, she paid the difference. If she had more equity than he does, she had to pay the difference of the equity to him. That's what he did. That made more sense. Okay. The cars. Now, you know, we people are talking about the cars. The luxury access again is that Kandi received a 2022 Bentley SUV, a Cadillac Escalade, a Ford F-250, Porsche Cayenne SUV, and a classic 1963 Chevrolet Camaro. That's a combination, right? They're total of 5: luxury, practicality, and touch of vintage elegance. And then you got Todd, same thing. He retained a 2020 Mercedes G-Wagon, a 2020 Porsche 911, a 2023 Range Rover, a 1973 Ford Bronco, a 1963 Lincoln, and a Ford Transit van. Those 6 cars. So what they did was, what is the equity of the blue book value of the cars total, and then who got the most, then they pay the difference. That's all it is. All right. They still have real estate that's in private, because again, somebody is stalking them or stalking her. So that's private. That's been sealed. In that marriage, they had 2 children. They both came in with a child. Kandi had Riley, guessing age, around 12, 13 years old when she got married to him. And then Kayla, she was the time 18 years old when we saw her on TV. Okay. And that was going on. So now, when they were married, they had 2 kids. One is a boy, and the second one is a girl. And one thing I did like about this, you know, is that their son, he already did a commercial with Kandi. I'm not sure whether Burger King, McDonald's or KFC. One of those 3 he did commercials with. He's into the industry. No, he's going into the industry, and he has a YouTube channel, and so far it's 20,000 subscribers on his channel. What else he got? Also, if they do any commercials, they had both agreed to have the children. If the children be on the set of the Housewives, they both had agreed to it. Any money their kids make under the age of 18, that money goes into their accounts, which makes sense. Keep that in mind, because I'm going to bring this up to another couple in another segment. What else? They also that Kandi gets primary decision making becomes the non-emergency medical and child education. All right. And then Todd, he get primary decision making for after schools activities and religion. Don't go there with me about religion, okay? Don't go with me about religion. All right. They play, all right, 50-50 on shared custody. They do 50-50, share costs. And they both have they do joint legal they agree to joint legal and physical custody of the children. They live close by. Okay. Todd, last week or 2 weeks ago, he moved into his condo, a 3-story condo. What I saw was only 2 beds. One is the main bed on the bottom floor. The second bedroom supposed to be a guest room. And I saw when he was leaving the room, there's another bed beside it. So it could be a twin bed there next door, next to the guest room. Guest bed. That's what I see. Okay. The top floor of his condo was seeing the bridge and the lights and all that good stuff, you know. So he's downtown Atlanta. I'm assuming where he's at. Not sure exactly, but that's what it is. What else? That was good for this. Kandi would keep her house. Don't forget, Kandi bought the house before she got married. Then Kandi bought the house outright. And she was trying to tell that to Kim Zodiac to do the same damn thing. And of course, you know, accountants would tell anybody to don't buy your house outright. All the tax benefits you're gonna miss out and all that stuff. Women, when you're able to buy your house and you're able to put more money down to your house, more money and add more to the principal, and you get the house paid off, do it as fast as you can, because now you own the house. Only thing you have left is paying the taxes on the taxes of the land, property tax, and there's school tax attached to the property tax. That's it. Try to pay your house off fast as you can. If you are getting married and you have a house, ask your attorney with the legal right to put that in your prenup. So, and also don't forget that say that you put in your prenup, the house is yours. He divorced you. He can, I don't know if they can do it depending on the state you're in. The time you married him, the equity, the day he married, the day you divorced, he can get that kind of money, right? He can get 50% of that equity of that money or the value of the home. I'm just top of my head, okay, guys? The other thing that I want you to think about, the other things that if you go get married, you need to ask the question. Even though you have a house, he have a house, you need to be look at the state laws of marriage, the state laws of divorce. And there was a football player, California, I can say her name, who he is. He was married, his wife, her attorney put down the California laws of divorce, of how the assets are. She put that in the prenup and then added some other stuff to the prenup. And he agreed to it. So when he got divorced, he still have paid half what California law were. It was hilarious to me. But I can say I go in more in detail of that prenup. Okay. Another segment. I know, another segment. But let's see. Also, Todd owed Kandi $38,000 to settle the remaining balance of the Atlanta Hawks season tickets. And he most likely used them when she was away. And again, they both might use these Hawks tickets as business expense, So that's what's gonna be there. All right. This is my advice to Kandi. Kandi keeping herself busy. She got Kandi, something going on. She got her own thing at the wine thing she doing at Atlanta. So she keeping herself busy. And what I got upset with when she was on a radio station, I think it was, someone asked her about her girlfriends helping her do this guys. And the only thing they asked to tell her to date. And I'm wondering why is some of you black girlfriends stop telling your friend to date somebody after she's been married. And again, like I said, it's going on 12 years of marriage. They got married April 4th, 2014. It'll be 12 years in 3 days. The time she signed her divorce papers, it was in 3 weeks she would be the 12th year of marriage. I would do this for a friend, and we at that age. Kandi be 50 years old when she in May turned 50. Okay, beautiful age. Okay, I would tell Kandi, hey, when you get divorced and you done this here, let's go somewhere for the weekend. Let's have a girl weekend. We're not for no man. We're gonna lounge around. We're gonna cry. We're gonna have fun. All the crazy things you want to do just for the weekend. Just get a moment away. When I got my divorce at 25, I was in the military, and I would come back out to sea for 6 months. And my husband told me what he did, and I said, we're getting divorced, right? Okay. And I was still wherever I was doing. And my friend, she in the military with me. She said, you know what? You go home with me. You coming home with me. I said, okay, I'll go with you, right? And she was going to stay at her. We were going for 2 weeks, a week. And we're going to stay at her mother's home in South Carolina. And she drove and everything. And that was I didn't have to think about nothing. I didn't have to think about him at all. And we just, she brought her daughter. Her daughter was a little small. And we just hanged out and ate, cooked dinner, watched TV, watched movies, green tomatoes. like that. We watched Green Tomatoes and all that. We didn't watch. We didn't see it on. We was out to see when it came out. I think. But anyway, that's the best thing to do for a friend. Or take your, hey, I know you. I pay for you to get a massage. I'll pay for you to get some things done. That kind of stuff. Send her flowers. Um, um, if your friend's got that kind of money, hire a chef to come to her house and cook. Have a girl night dinner. Even though the kids are there, just cook for the family like that. That's the best thing you could do for a friend, not telling her to date. When I got getting my divorce, my friend did not tell me to date. However, if you had no children involved and you knew they've been separated for a year and a half or 2 years, and they're already separated and they're already living separately, that's a different story. That's a whole different story. But it came back to me. I watched an old movie back in the 90s. And I remember this TV show, TV movie. And this girl just got divorced. And she was a doctor. And this nurse said, "Oh, are you going to date?" So it's not abnormal for someone to say that, to date. But I think that we need, as friendships, need to allow our friend to grieve of a marriage that she was involved, especially that she loved that man. And regardless of what happened in that marriage, a marriage a divorce is not a death, because a death is when the person's gone, the person can cut back. A divorce, a person's still alive, and you say something, that person won't talk back. It's going to take Kandi a while to fall out of love for somebody, especially him. And she has to start thinking. And one of the conversations, someone asked her, "Will you date somebody next time around? You're going to date somebody who is equal to you or make more money than you," right? She said something so powerful, because now she understands what her mom was saying and what we were saying her too back in the day. Is that now she can't trust that, because maybe that person is equal to her, who make more than her, but he might have other connections. Get into her space and make connections that way. See what I'm saying? And my thing to Todd, we saw you coming. Your daughter have backed you twice in conversations online. And one of them, and I know I typed to her once and said, "Hey, your dad I think you need to understand, your dad betrayed himself the way he does." And people trying to convince me, I said, "No, you've been in the industry long enough, in the reality TV world, how they would cut things and slice things and everything. And you telling me that you come in there acting like that? That's all you, baby. That's all you. Because there's no way in hell you should come in there looking acting like that as a man. Be like the rich white man." No, sorry. Be like the white man who married to a rich white woman. And that man signed a prenup. He knew exactly what he getting himself into. He got a job. He go to work. He come back. He keep his mouth shut. He keep his mouth shut. Couldn't do whatever the hell her family doing with the money and all that. He kept his mouth shut. He's sitting back and chilling, living large, living nice, whole 9 yards. And that's what you should have done yourself, but you didn't do that. You were trying to be somebody. And number two, I got mad. What someone brought attention was, you want all the kids have the same name. You not see Harvey, baby. You not see Harvey. You can afford it. And Riley would not allow it to happen. And also that you'd ask the Baja father to get that name. To me, that was a BS name. That was a BS conversation to even have. I want all the kids have the same name. That would never happen. Nope. And also number two, real women and real women, black, white, don't matter what color you are, they will tell the man, let the child decide, let the child come to us or come to you or come to me and ask that question. You as a step parent, you don't do that. That's not proper etiquette. what do you guys think? We got to think about this. What do you think about the whole situation? What do you think about the lady, Belle? Do you see comparison contrast of Belle and Kandi prenups? How the man responded? Whispers. What would you do? Would you say? And I'm gonna tell you the last one. I'm gonna say this to Black women. And your friend, have you been divorced? Yes or no? When you got divorced, like for example, you got divorced in 2000, whether in the early 2000, the mid 2000, or right in a couple years ago, or it was in the 90s, early 90s, mid 90s, or was it late 90s? And the reason for that, because I just want to know, get an idea. And what advice did your friends alone tell you when you told them getting divorced, whether it's supportive, were they not supportive, and what advice, what did they do? Like, did they tell you to date, or did they really came together as sisterhood or whoever it is? It could be a guy friend too. What did it do to help you along the way? Now, well, Mother Joyce, do you approve Mother Joyce's behavior before they got married? When did Mother Joyce should have backed up a little bit? Okay, that's the kind of questions I want to ask. So before we go, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Your voice matters, and keep this conversation going. All right, talk to you guys later.